AMD or NVIDIA? Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. My name's Clay from Epic Tech, and as you can see in front of me, we've got some graphics cards. We got some newer ones and we got an older one. So what we have in front of me is a RX 9060 XT, the 16 gigabyte version. Then we have an RTX 5060 Ti 16 gigabyte version. And then this is a 1660 Super 6 gigabyte. Now, you may be wondering, are we gonna compare the graphics cards? Are we gonna talk about them? Are we gonna see benchmarks? I kind of wanna just do like a quick overview of maybe you're a budget gamer and then like you're like a super budget gamer. But before we get into it, a quick segue to our sponsor. Hi, it's me. I'm the sponsor, it's me. Okay, I just had to throw that in there because I kind of feel like Linus Tech Tips right now because I'm in my kitchen and I got my flip-flops on, but no socks. All right, back to the video. We got the 9060 XT, the 5060 Ti, and the 1660 Super. All different budgets. We got 2 new cards and 1 used card. I did have the 8 gigabyte version of the 9060 XT, but I did return it to get the 16 gigabyte. Kind of what everybody's saying online is it's relatively true. I'd say 90% true about the 8 gigabyte cards. If you want an 8 gigabyte card, do not buy it new. I'm going to agree with that. So if you want an 8 gigabyte card, try to find it used or try to find like a 1660 Super. Now, when you're trying to find a graphics card for your build, it kind of depends on how often do you want to upgrade, what's your budget, do you want the newest and latest and greatest features, or are you okay with not having all the bells and whistles? Another thing you need to consider when you're choosing a graphics card is what resolution are you playing at? Are you playing 1080p, 1440p, or 4K? Do you want ultra high frame rates or do you want just 60 FPS? Or maybe you're just a console gamer and you're trying to switch over to PC just so you can do more things and have more access to different game libraries. So for example, like Steam, Ubisoft, EA, and so forth. I really got to fix that light. That's not a video effect. The light's going out. So maybe consider subscribing just to keep the lights on. So like I was saying, I did have the 8 gigabyte version of the 9060 XT and I returned it for the 16 gigabyte version and I'm a lot happier. I've got more peace of mind. So for example, a lot of these newer games that are coming out this year and the future years, they're gonna start having ray tracing with no off button. So you want to get a card that has ray tracing built in. So basically like any older GTX cards don't work anymore or are not going to work to run the game. They still work. Like you can still play esports titles, you can still play indie games, you can still play a lot of games that have the toggle switch with ray tracing. But just going forward, if you're building a computer today, really try to find some sort of card with ray tracing in it. Now, whether if that means you buy used or new, that's kind of up to you. So if you're gonna do NVIDIA, which I know probably 90% of the people here are gonna do NVIDIA, you can go all the way back to RTX 2000 series to the 5000 series. So 2060, 3060, 4060, 5060, or whichever SKU you get. Now with AMD, you're gonna be looking at the RX 7000 series or the RX 9000 series. But if you're gonna buy brand new, this 9060 XT freaking kills it. So if you go to techpowerup.com, this is getting compared to a 3070 or a 3070 Ti level of performance, which honestly, this is awesome. Like this was $369, brand new, AV1 encoding, super low power draw. Like I think it only requires like 450 watts, but I'm gonna say when you buy a power supply, buy a little bit over just in case any power spikes. Also, big difference. 5060 Ti and lower in the newer stuff only has 8 lanes. It's PCIe 5.0 by 8. And all of the RX 9000 series has PCIe 5.0 by 16. So basically you got more lanes, more traffic. So, so you can send the data through 16 lanes rather than just 8. Which I do know if you try to put this in a slightly older system, it makes it a little weird. You lose some performance. So for example, I'm still on AM4. So I actually chose to go with the by 16 lanes. So by the way, I sold my 5060 Ti and I kept the box for video props. So, and that was one of the big reasons why I sold it, was the by 8. So, but if you're on a PCIe 5.0 system and you're building today, there's nothing wrong with these new cards. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the 1660 Super. Who should buy a GTX card? Now, the reason why I still have it, it's a backup card for me. So like, let's say if I'm between upgrades and I still want to use my computer, I'll throw in the 1660 Super and I might sell this or return this to get an upgrade. So then I can still use my computer. But let's say you only want to have one graphics card, who should buy the 1660 Super or below, the GTX line of stuff? I'm gonna say if you're on like a super budget, I know on like eBay, you can get like GTX 1080 for like $100. 1660 Super, I picked this up on Facebook Marketplace for $50. He was selling it for 80. I talked him down to 50, and that's a banger deal. There may be only 6 gigabytes of VRAM in there, but it's still a really good performing card at 1080p. These newer cards, they're kind of designed for 1440p. 1440p, like 90 to 100 FPS right here for the 5060 Ti and the 9060 XT. But I play 1080p because I've got a nicer ROG Strix 1080p monitor. So I like super high frame rates. Resolution isn't everything to me. More about the GTX line of cards. Like if you are on a super budget, right? Like, bro, I got $300 to $500 to build a whole computer. That's when you should consider the GTX line of stuff, or like older AMD stuff like RX 5700 XT. But like, let's say you got a budget above $500, maybe your like budget's like 500 to 800. That's when you kind of consider these cards. And then like if your budget's above 1,000, maybe that's when you are considering like the RTX 5070 or like the RX 9070 or 70 XT, depending on prices, because I know there's a lot of scalping going on. But a lot of the RTX cards from this generation are falling in price. Like I actually saw the 5070 at MSRP, so that's cool. But then you also have to kind of consider, well, here's a really good example. The 5060 Ti has an 8 gigabyte and a 16 gigabyte, right? You should really shoot for the 16 gigabytes for future compatibility. But then if you look at the 5070, it only has 12 gigabytes of VRAM. So like, it's like literally they do that on purpose to like make you double think, like maybe I should get the next one up, because I'm pretty sure the 5070 Ti has 16 gigabytes, but we're going from $500 to $800 like that. So that's a whole nother reason why I went with the 9060 XT. It's got 16 gigabytes of VRAM, so does the 9070 and the 9070 XT. In my opinion, if you're gonna buy a brand new graphics card this year in 2025, with all the cards that have came out, I really prefer the AMD stuff. Like, they are offering really good performance and value. So, especially when things are super expensive in the real world, you know, like eggs, $12 for a 12 pack. Did I just call eggs a 12 pack? Like I said, I know a lot of people, they love NVIDIA, but it really seems like this year NVIDIA doesn't care about gamers. They care more about AI and really trying to position themselves. Like I said, their whole product stack it's really confusing. Like I said, AMD, they keep it simple. And by the way, if you do pick an AMD card and you are on a Ryzen system, then you can use SAM, which I'm pretty sure is the same thing as resizable bar. I don't know. Comment down below if I'm wrong. I'm really trying to just speedball thing here. Like I said, most people are probably on a Ryzen system. They're switching over from Intel because a lot of the issues with like the voltages and temperatures and frying motherboards, frying chips. So AMD, like I said, they're really offering really good performance for value and actually developing quality products. Like, AMD is for gamers. You know what I mean? So we might see a shift in the market where there's maybe a 50-50 split of NVIDIA cards and AMD cards, and then eventually maybe it's 70% AMD cards and 30% NVIDIA. Same thing with processors. We might see 70% of people are on AMD systems like Ryzen, and 30% of people are on Intel systems. Like, I really think that that's gonna happen, or that's a really good projection. In conclusion, if you are going to buy a graphics card in 2025, really consider AMD, because like I said, they have pretty much their whole product line right now is 16 gigabytes, except for the 9060 XT 8 gigabyte, which should have just been called the 9060 and not XT. So, nothing wrong with NVIDIA, but I just feel like AMD offers more value and bang for the buck. And a lot of the problems previously AMD had, like super high power draw and a lot of heat and buggy drivers, they all kind of went away. Like, their quality control team has been killing it, bro, on the graphics card side of it and the processor side of it. So Intel and NVIDIA should be a little scared that they're gonna lose some market share coming here in the next few years. Well, I could kind of keep rambling on forever and ever about this stuff, so maybe more long form videos coming soon. Please hit that subscribe button. I try so hard in these videos, you know. I don't have an editor. I'm a one-person team, and I work a full-time job. So it would mean a lot. Like, hit the like button, leave a comment, let me know what you think. My name's Clay from Epic Tech, and thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or any tech questions, or you just want to say what's up down in the comments. And like I said, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Stay epic.